The first aspect of personal safety that we would like to discuss is physical and mental fitness. As we mentioned in the overview presentation, search and rescue work can be very physically and mentally demanding, especially for those of us that are used to serving in an operational role in the field, conducting missions. And it's our collective responsibility. It's the responsibility of each of us individually to be prepared for the function that we serve on the team. I've served in a number of roles on the team, on my teams over the years, ranging from managing a search in the command post or serving some kind of a function in the command post, and also being out in the field operating on a search assignment. So, depending on what your role on the team is, and there's a wide variety of roles, it's our responsibility to maintain that physical and mental fitness to operate in that for that function that we serve. And that starts with developing and maintaining an exercise and nutritional regimen that complements your role on the team. Search and rescue field work can be very taxing. It can involve stooping, bending, overextending, squatting, lots and lots of walking. You should anticipate any mission being extremely physically challenging. You may go into it seeming that you may think that you may be walking through an urban environment or a suburban environment and transition over into a very physical wilderness environment without much notice. So you want to make sure that you can anticipate that on any mission. In order to adequately prepare for this, all SAR operators should develop an exercise and nutritional regimen that complements the work that they intend to do within the search environment. If your role is to sit in the command post and work the radio or do note taking or serve as a liaison, you should still make sure that you are physically fit for that role. Now, of course, this should all be done in consultation with your physician to ensure that you have the appropriate caloric intake and you understand what your physical exertion limit is. And the best thing that I can tell you there is to know what that limit is and make sure that you and commit to yourself that you won't exceed that limit where you won't be part of the problem in the event that something does happen and you do overexert and you can potentially put yourself in a harmful situation. But a well-rounded exercise regimen should consider cardiovascular strength and endurance. You may be traveling some long distances by foot over uneven terrain, so having that cardiovascular strength and endurance is very key. Physical strength and endurance, you may be carrying some heavy loads, such as a multi-day search pack or helping transport a victim using a litter or a Stokes basket. That can be very physically demanding to do that. Make sure that you work in some level of flexibility in there. Do some stretching, or for those of you that practice yoga, or some kind of a stretching technique. You'll be doing a lot of bending and stooping through trees and brush. You may find yourself overextending quite a bit, to get from one secure footing to another. So having the flexibility to do that is key as well, and it's something that needs to be worked into your routine. And lastly, agility. Part of being a SAR operator is potentially being able to move through an area at a fairly quick tempo. So if you need to move through the environment quickly, having a little bit of agility worked into your regimen can help you pivot whenever you need to. It can help you gain more secure footing quickly as you go through the environment. So, and the next thing you need to really consider is your water intake, and this is something that you need to continually push, even whenever you're not searching. And we'll discuss later on. Dehydration can really affect searcher physical and mental performance. The number of body systems that are tied to your hydration level is really profound, and it's really key for you to really push water continually throughout the day, so that way if you're called to action on the spur of the moment, you're properly hydrated going in. It plays into so much in terms of your body systems that you need to have that before you go into the field. And it's important to really continually push that water without large amounts of sugar or caffeine to stay hydrated. You want to try to keep as close to water as you can. It's okay to mix that stuff in every now and then, but it's really good to start off with really pushing the water first. Whenever I start the day, I make myself a coffee in the morning before I go to work. And my caveat for getting to the cup of coffee is I need to drink at least a quart of water, at least 32 ounces. So I'll sit there and I'll do a quart of water before I can go and enjoy my coffee. That way, I've got at least some water in me before I start putting in some caffeine, and I'm setting myself up to be properly hydrated throughout the day. You also want to make sure that you follow an appropriate recovery cycle. Make sure that you're getting enough quality sleep and you're building time in your schedule for mental decompression. There's a number of things that you can do to help the quality of your sleep. Check your mattress, check the room temperature. If you one of those people that needs airflow, do what you need to do to get there. Some other folks, they may need to go do a sleep study to see if maybe getting you a CPAP or something that can help you get better quality sleep at night. That's certainly something to take a look at and consider. I use a CPAP, and it really changed my life in terms of I was no longer as fatigued throughout the day because I was getting enough air moved in that it was no longer affecting my quality of sleep. Another thing that I do as well is I'll pop some chewable magnesium every now and then, which you can buy at most any department, or like a Target or a Walmart or something like that. You can buy chewable magnesium just about anywhere. And what it does is it helps you get into that REM sleep cycle a little bit quicker. It doesn't necessarily help you fall asleep, but whenever you do fall asleep, it helps you kind of get into that REM cycle a little bit quicker. So it really good. You can really get some good quality sleep over a shorter duration with the chewable magnesium. I'm a big supporter of that. And then the last thing here is to know when to ask for help. There's no shame in really being open and honest with yourself about your limits, or when something has affected you physically or mentally. In terms of mental fitness, all responders can fall victim to mental fatigue or depression. As I mentioned in the overview presentation, there is a high likelihood that you're going to see things, or you're going to be part of a situation where it's extremely emotionally taxing, and some of it may stick with you. And those are scars that they're not on the outside, but they can cut very deep on the inside. So being able to ask for help, to know that you're not in the right place mentally, really says a lot about you as a responder. I grew up. I grew up with the understanding that you're supposed to kind of keep that stuff to yourself. You really just kind of worked through it. Rub some dirt on it was a very popular expression in my household growing up. But as I've gone along and matured a little bit, I've really found that for some people that having that outlet to talk about those tough situations, it really means a lot. It really means a lot. So don't be ashamed of doing that. Find someone to talk to. The great thing is, most people on your team have likely gone through the similar circumstance that you are in the moment, so they can help guide you through it. There may be some offerings for critical stress debriefing, and take advantage of that. If your team has a chaplain, or you have someone that you can go to, build that into your routine so that way you have an outlet. Because the last thing we need is for you to fall victim of your own depression, based on some of the things that you've seen. Whenever you kind of kept that to yourself, make sure that you're talking that through with somebody else. From a physical perspective, if you're hurt or injured, or you may be out of shape or whatever, it's okay. It's going to happen to just about everybody at some point in their career. Just like with mental fitness, be honest with yourself about it. Talk to people. If it's you can't perform a task like you used to, or that you're up to a standard that you would like to, then tell people. And there are plenty of things to do in search and rescue where you can go do something else. You can serve the team in another way. There are plenty of jobs to do on a search and rescue team. So if being in the field is not something that you can do today, it's fine. We can get you on something else so that way you can recover appropriately and keep yourself safe. Again, we don't want to put ourselves as part of the problem. So that brings us to the end of physical and mental fitness. Thank you.